All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, talking all things professional wrestling on the GSMC Sports Network here on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Just going to reflect on what we talked about. We talked about our WWE SmackDown review. We had my Thursday Night Wrestling review. We had SmackDown preview, sorry, excuse me. And we talked about TNA, we talked about Ring of Honor, a little bit about the NWA. Then we talked about AEW, Rampage and Collision. AEW coming to an agreement with Warner Brothers Discovery finally. And lastly, we're going to talk about all the major news happening within the professional wrestling circuit. Everything that you kind of get kind of see on Instagram, and you're like, oh, like that's crazy. So yeah, let's go ahead and dig on into that. So yeah, if I can find it, there we go. There we go. All right, a wrestling news roundup. So we are facing major global issues in our nation, in the United States, affecting travel plans for professional wrestling. Absolutely IT issues, which is, I don't want to be the one to be like, hey, like that conspiracy theorist to be like, hey, I told you so. Like, you know what I mean? But if you rely on technology so damn much, like it's something's got to give. Something's got to give. So, you know, this is obviously, troublesome. Obviously, a lot of things that a lot of negative aspects, a lot of negative consequences and actions that come from this. Technical disasters affecting government agencies and businesses. It's leading to stranded passengers who, as well as canceled medical procedures, disrupted 911 services. This issue has paralyzed airlines, banks, state agencies, and emergency services worldwide. That's crazy. That's insane. Obviously, depending a lot on your technological advances within the world, it's not, it's, it's a very delicate situation. I only say that because, obviously I was kind of brought up right before the digital era really kind of took off, which I feel like the digital era really took off in 2009, 2010. I honestly did not have my first cell phone until I was like 21 years old. 21 years old. And I was like, I had those flip phones for a little while when you had to buy minutes. I remember buying minutes or the Nicola phones, the Nicola. He used to have the game Snake on it. It's technology is ruling this world. And that's, obviously this is a wrestling podcast, but when we're kind of dealing with this issue and stuff like that, it's just, it's kind of crazy how it kind of comes all full circle. It's kind of, like, how does IT issues or cyber attacks affect the world of wrestling? This is exactly why. So many delays. We had over 2,700 flights canceled and 9,000 delayed, according to FlightAware.com. So, definitely kind of crazy. Wish the best. Obviously, we do have TNA Impact's Slammiversary. Hopefully, nothing happens to the point where the main event has to be altered. Hopefully, nothing really happens like that. I feel like this was a real issue. I feel like this was, this kind of got serious when WWE SmackDown decided to have double tapings tonight at in Omaha, Nebraska. They are filming the SmackDown for the 26th. So, definitely made me think that okay, maybe they are kind of gearing for it to maybe possibly get worse. But I know it's just kind of crazy how, real global issues could, affect the world of professional wrestling. So 1,010%, kind of crazy, kind of crazy. Next, we have Hikuleo from New Japan Professional Wrestling has officially joined the WWE. The ink's dry, contract is signed, and we are ready to introduce another person into the young bloodline. So, kind of crazy. The brother of Tamatonga and Tongaloa. So, when will he make his debut? I am not too sure. Maybe perhaps it could be to cost Cody Rhodes the WWE Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania 39. He was cost the WWE champion, the Universal and Undisputed Championship from Roman Reigns because of, the attack by one of his families and stuff like that. Just a lot of, just they're bringing in the fifth member. The bloodline that I know, obviously, four members: the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Roman Reigns, of course, the Wise Man. So maybe the Wise Man kind of leaves that open a little bit. Maybe perhaps they don't need a wise man. They're just their wise man and their tribal chief is one in Solo Sikoa. All I know is this guy, Hikuleo, New Japan Professional Wrestling star, is dynamite. This guy has a lot of talent. This guy is kind of on that Jacob Fatu kind of level. It's kind of sad, and I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean. It's kind of sad how every member of the bloodline is better than Solo Sikoa. They are better than Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa, you trash. Step down. You should not even be the enforcer. I'm just kidding. No, he should be the shoe shiner. I'm just kidding. No, don't. But Hikuleo, the Tamatonga, the Tongan twins, Tungaloa, Jacob Fatu are all very phenomenal superstars and wrestlers that come from the MLW, that has come from, a lot of other independent wrestling circuits like New Japan Professional Wrestling. And they're better than Solo. I would rather see them in the ring with Solo. I mean, instead of Solo. It's crazy. But, we are stuck with the hand we are dealt. We have this very impressive the younger brother of Tamatonga and Tangaloa making his way to WWE finally. It's been rumored, it's been rumored for at least 4 months now. Once when I started, doing the show, it's been rumored for the longest time. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Next, we have the news that The Undertaker wanted more for the Ministry of Darkness. Obviously, you saw the Ministry of Darkness, Viscera, Minion, Farouk and Bradshaw. You also saw Edge, Christian, Paul Bearer, and Gangrel. But The Undertaker wanted more. He wanted to take it into a direction that was a little more eerie. He said that he wanted to, he was pushing for, while he was on the 6 Feet Under podcast, he said, and he aimed to use more sinister imagery as well as symbolism. He wanted to push to make people feel highly uncomfortable. And you got that to a certain extent. Obviously, the crucifixion of Stephanie McMahon was kind of crazy. But I feel like once when you kind of had the Bray Wyatts of the world, and now that you see WWE enter into this PG era, once when it was the Attitude Era, once when you kind of had The Undertaker doing his thing from the Ministry of Darkness, maybe perhaps you could have had something happen within the Attitude Era that could absolutely scare the pants off of viewers. Think The Undertaker, dude, this complete, absolute badass, dude. The Undertaker, give him all the credit in the world, and I will, 1,010%. But I've seen his past matches. I've seen his past pay-per-views, with Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H. And he didn't win all the time. As a matter of fact, he was kind of understated a little bit. And that's my opinion, 1,010%. I feel like The Undertaker was, the one thing he really had to cherish was that undefeated streak at WrestleMania. He didn't really have the accolades. He's not a 5 or 6-time WWE World Champion. The reason why I feel like Vince McMahon didn't want the Ministry of Darkness to kind of get a little more overboard was ultimately I didn't feel like he wanted them to outshine anybody else. And I know that might be a little ignorant to say. Maybe you have the mat on for Vince McMahon. But through Vince McMahon's actions, through the way Vince McMahon was portrayed, the way he is, it wouldn't surprise me if that was exactly the case. That The Undertaker was somebody that should have been a 16-time world champion. Hell yeah. Oh my God, yes. That should have happened. But it never did. It never did because The Undertaker was complacent. He obviously backed up Vince McMahon 1,010%. He was a team player. He's a team player. Definitely something that, he wasn't very hellacious in the backstage. He wasn't confrontational with Vince McMahon. He went out there. He did exactly what you wanted him to do. Maybe, just maybe, if he would have pushed a little bit, maybe we would see The Undertaker be more of a sinister-looking guy. What he originally wanted to do, shake up the audience, make them feel uncomfortable, get them scared, bring in that horror movie kind of esque, feel grotesque, a little bit of gory, a little bit of just Amityville kind of, scary feeling. It could have been done right in the right hands. It would have been amazing. But The Undertaker, ultimately, it didn't really happen. tell me how you feel in the comment section. Tell me how you feel how the Undertaker, did during his Ministry of Darkness walk. All right, next we have the Tonga Twins spotted at the WWE Performance Center. Tahini and also Talaval. You know, they were spotted at the WWE Performance Center. Could we be heading toward a female bloodline? Maybe. I doubt it, but I feel like, just kind of flirting with that idea would be pretty badass. They departed from a WoW Wrestling, Women of Wrestling, and due to allegations of bullying other superstars and stuff like that. Really not a good look. Really not a good look on the on the Tongan twins or the Tonga, whatever, Tonga, Tama, whatever. Not really sure you want to bring bullies into your wrestling promotion, WWE. Like just because you might like do this wrestling, this new women's bloodline and stuff like that. Nia Jax, Tamina, maybe even Naomi Jones or something like that. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it 1,010%. I would, to be honest, I would kind of hate for these Tonga twins to make their debut within WWE 1,010%. What WWE is they're a huge family. You don't really want any antagonistic people within that. Kind of reminds me of like a CM Punk kind of twins, just here to disrupt the flow. Absolutely, the moment you sign them, be like, oh, we want to be women's tag team champions, or hey, I want to be the champion on Raw. I want to be the champion on SmackDown. Just you don't want to deal with selfish wrestlers. And ultimately, I feel like bringing these, once when you're kind of accused of, allegations, and it is 1,010% allegations. But, I feel like right now, what you have with the NXT roster, you have Julia, you also have Stephanie McCure in the Winks. It's something that's promising. It's something that's promising. So hopefully, they were just there to cheer on their family or whatever. Would not want to see them within WWE. All right, now we have Matt Riddle in the news again. Ex-WWE star Matt Riddle wants to fight Jake Paul, obviously the brother of Logan Paul. Jake called out Riddle's constant desire to fight. Tension is fueling between these two. Matt Riddle had this to say because Jake Paul said that, like, really, Matt Riddle? Who is that? Sounds like a guy who just wants a paycheck. But Matt Riddle responded on social media saying that I will forfeit all money. Knocking him out is worth more than any amount of money. So maybe something that could be in the prom. Obviously, you see the kickboxing nature of Matt Riddle, the MMA, also professional wrestling. So this could be this would be a really great match. I would honestly love to see this match more than Jake Paul taking on Mike Tyson. Obviously, Mike Tyson dealing with health issues. It was rumored and actually confirmed that they reached out to Logan Paul to fight his own brother instead of Mike Tyson. So Matt Riddle just rattling up the cages could possibly be something for the future within professional wrestling, because you see these two guys, Jake Paul, his brother, like I said. I like Matt Riddle. I miss Matt Riddle being on the WWE roster. Definitely think that he still has a lot to do within professional wrestling. So yeah. All right, next we have Sting took to social media, took to Twitter to speak about Britt Baker taking a page out of his playbook. He said, and I quote, "It's showtime, DMD," which is awesome. I definitely think that's awesome. Love that they used the Sting mask within that. Sting recently retired from AEW like about 4 months ago, but it was kind of cool to see a legend, a WCW legend. If you would have made it to WWE, would have been a WWE legend, a TNA legend, and an AEW legend. Definitely in all four of those Hall of Fames, which is pretty cool, which is pretty dynamite. Sting, when he made it onto the books of WCW, I loved it. I loved seeing Sting. I loved seeing his character. He was like just that vigilante. Kind of remind me of like a Undertaker meets like kind of like a Batman kind of approach, kind of like character development and stuff like that. Then you saw Britt Baker, DMD, having that get up, taking on Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, and Mercedes Moné. I'm gonna call the cops. I'm gonna get the cops involved. I'm gonna dude, that's wrestling. That's just professional wrestling. So absolutely love to see that. Absolutely love to see a little bit of nostalgia with the professional wrestling. So yeah, 1,010%. Well, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys had an amazing week. Hope you guys enjoyed my show. Thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. So don't forget to leave a kind comment. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Remember to follow us on Twitter/X. Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more content and updates. If I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, I want to remind you guys to just kind of reflect on sports. Remember that we got my man Tommy talking about college football. College football is right around the corner. We also have Manny with the Chip Shop Football Podcast, Kenneth with the GSMC Football Podcast. We have football right around the corner. And because of football, fantasy leagues, fantasy. Chris Shepard on his GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast talk about who you should draft, who you should if you're a betting man, bet your money on. So make sure you tune into that. We got TJ and Jeremy on sports. We also have my boy Nelson on basketball, my boy Sam on baseball, and also the Andrew Tate podcast. So make sure you check that out on the GSMC Sports Network. That's it for me. Hope you guys are having an amazing weekend. Remember to have plans. Hug your loved ones, and just take life one day at a time. Enjoy your weekend. Definitely love you guys. One last time. I believe in Joe Hendrick.